all good things have got to come to an end, right? So the Bert Hatch, we're taking this apart. This engine is going in the white CRX. It's going to be just a bone stock V18 C5. We're going to put the manifold back on it. In its glory, look at that. You can see a good shot of the pulleys right here. I'm going to actually take a shot here and put them in the store so you can see this angle, but that's what's nice. There's no alignment issues, and I see we're not running crazy belt tension at all. I mean, this was back in the day. Anything we could do to get the pulleys to hook up, we used to run these so tight. But everything looks good, so we're going to take the blower kit off, separate it from the engine, lay it out. So we will include the fuel rail in with this, that way the fuel rail works. I see we've got some 1000cc injectors in there. So let's get it off. Let's find the Type R manifold, put the manifold on. We do have plans of changing this valve cover. Don't know what we're going to do with this valve cover right now, but it's so pretty. Maybe it'll go in the cabinet. This is the supercharger kit. Like I mentioned, let me get out the wind here. So this is how we're going to include it. Try and make it as easy as possible for you to install it. The heat exchanger kit, all the hoses are there, and again, based on it being an EG, if you watch the build series, you'll see we made it all bolt on correctly. So this supercharger has 20,000 miles, and it came off a GSR. A friend of mine owned it, and we actually put the kit on. And the nice thing was when I took it off, it still had the original 6-pound pulley, so it was one of those superchargers that you know hasn't been run hard, which I liked. This idler pulley and this idler pulley I did replace brand new. There's our billet S tube. There's the LHT 7mm throttle body. There is the grip tech pulley and the alternator pulley, the LHT supercharger intake manifold, the 3 to 3.5 inch intake, the carbon shield, the lower alternator bracket. Here's the belts, by the way. So to make it easier, we're going to include the fuel rail that we modified so it fits on there. We made it fit, so this is the banjo. This you will put right on your filter, and we're going to include the 1000cc injectors, again, just to make life easy. Throttle cable, that's the supercharger bolts right there. All the bolts that come off are put back on. There's no missing parts. I want to make it easy. If you're a supercharger fan like I am and you buy this kit, I want it to be just a bolt-on deal for you. I'll include the 4-bar map sensor with the LHT little bracket right here. This is basically the adapter, so it fits back in the factory location, but this hose supplies boost. As you know, on a intake manifold, this is vacuum and boost, vacuum, and you need a boost reference, so that makes life easier again. So that's everything. There's the little reservoir, there's the pump. The radiator and fan is going to go with the car. It's not going with the supercharger package. So we're prepping the motor right here, changing the things over. It's basically a V18 C5 transmission. We're going to modify that bracket to fit the CRX, the compressor. This is a timing belt water pump, brand new, that we did replace. It's got the Skunk 2 cam gears on it. We're going to change this mount from the Integra mount to the 9091 mount, so we can run the 9091 mount on the CRX. Thinking about changing the clutch. It's got the Clutchmaster's FX300 in there. It's probably got 100 miles on it. I think it's overkill, so I think we're going to take that out and keep that for one of our other projects, because it is a more expensive clutch, and I do have a brand new OE clutch that I think we're going to put in this because it isn't going to require any more power, so it'd be nice to save that for a future project. No sense in wasting a 500 horsepower clutch at 180 horsepower build.
I took the turbo intake off, took the battery out, start taking some of this top stuff off, get the intercooler piping out of here. We'll go up and take the cross member out, because that's going to come out, and it'll have to come out to pull the engine, because we're going to go out from the bottom. But we've got a lot of stuff to disconnect, and then pull a bunch of stuff off. You know, get the fuse box out of the way, the wiring, the wiper motor. There's a pad on the firewall back there. We'll remove that, get behind that. 3-bar map sensor can go. It's not going to go back on. All this stuff over there. We've got the the box for the injectors, motor wiring, strut tower bar. All this stuff's going to be coming out of here. We need to get this as bare as possible so that we can get in here and put some paint on it. So basically here is all the charge piping and the intercooler off of the CRX. I don't know if any of you guys have been on these cars long enough to remember doing this stuff. The intercooler is a Mitsubishi Stereon. That elbow is off of a Volkswagen. The blow-off valve is any generic Mitsubishi, probably a Stereon, noting that the intercooler comes from the Stereon. But, I mean, just getting it figured out, piecing it together, making it all work in your driveway. These are the good old days. And this car has been together for a long time, so this is something that he did a long time ago and got it working and got it running, and it's a fun car to drive.
If you're not familiar with the CRX, this was a very popular motor, and the reason is it would bolt onto the factory engine mounts. Everything would plug in. You could even use your CRX Si transmission. All the mounts would fit. The only thing you would have to do is, if you look at this plug right here, it used to have a 7-wire plug. Well, you used to take, I think it was green and yellow and green and blue, or blue and yellow. No, it was blue and yellow and blue and green. You used to take those wires out the harness and run them over to this sensor right here. This was something that the ZC did. They took the sensor out of that distributor and put it here. I don't know why. This was a pain, and this used to fail, and more recently they fail and are hard to get. When this happens, the car doesn't run. In fact, Steve actually missed a CRX meet because of this sensor failing one time. Correct me if I'm wrong, this was 130 horsepower, where the factory CRX Si motor was 106. So this was a good upgrade. It was a twin cam motor. If you did bolt-ons, it would respond a little bit better to bolt-ons than the single cam. This is a Greddy single cam turbo kit, and I think Steve used to like to hit the junkyards. I think he found this on a car. If he could find things and make it work and make parts from different cars work, he used to really enjoy that, even though he was a level 10 tech. And he was probably one of the smartest guys I know. If you don't know the backstory of Steve, he was basically the reason that we did the very first K-Site. He did the wiring for the K-Site, and it was kind of tradition after that. It was a good way for me and him to hang out. He would do all the wiring for the K-Site. He would come down here. Nights and weekends, we would hang out. He did all 13 K-Sites, including the all-wheel drive turbo one. He also did the first KRZ. We did the first KRZ back in 2010. He wired that up before books were available. This is the B18C5 that's going in it. This is what it looks like without the supercharger kit on. As you see, it's a super clean motor. That is there just so we can use it for size-wise. It's going to get refinished and cleaned up. These always look worse when you pull everything out, because when you see them with an engine installed, you tend to see just this bit, and everything looks clean. When you take the engine out, you really get to see down behind the scenes, and it looks pretty yucky. So we're going to strip this down, pressure clean it, sand it. Anything that we can remove and pull it in, we're going to take it off the firewall, repaint this whole engine bay. I think we'll remove this pad because these look kind of messy. This is a 3-bar map sensor. This was before you could buy a 4-bar map sensor and bolt to the throttle body. This was a GM map sensor. Still one of the best map sensors today because they don't fail. They're just a really good, solid unit, but you need to build a bracket and change the plug, and it's a bit more of a pain in the butt. But that has been on here for at least 15 years and still works. Few things have to be changed back here. Now, if you do one of the popular mount kits, they like to keep everything in the engine bay without modifying it. Their mount kit tends to push the motor forward so that you don't have any clearance issues here. You also have more room here. The problem is when you move the engine forward, you run into the area of the air conditioning and the header. If you do have a turbo kit, you can't get turbos to fit. It's very tricky. My mount kit was always based on the 9091 Integra mount. That would put the motor the direction here where it needs to be. You'd have to clearance this area, clearance this cross member, remake this mount, remake that mount, which is something we're going to do. Cross member is taken out. The CRX used to have this big cross member about this thick, took up a ton of room. We're removing that. We're going to put in an aftermarket cross member mainly for room and to fit the factory front mount. We're going to build a front mount for this. Now we're also going to do a hydro conversion. I did some hydro conversions back in the day that were mechanical. This goes back to 1998. So the question is, what were you doing in 1998? Well, John from LHT was still a Honda supercharger B-Series, just fanatic. I love this stuff, I still do. But I forced myself to build this. I had a B20 VTEC with a supercharger on it. I used to break transmissions. I was stuck with the J1 and S1, which was the cable B16 transmission back in the day. And they wasn't as strong and were harder to get parts for even then. Well, I bought a brand new ITR transmission in 1998. It was a lot of money. I went broke buying this thing. It was before I had credit cards, so I used to just save and save and save and save and sell everything I could buy, or sell everything I owned to buy it. Well, how this worked is it would bolt here, the 3-bolt mount that would have been on the Integra. It's obviously not used on a CRX. I would bolt this here. So I had a little bit of adjustment so I could get the cable actuation correct. And what would happen is the cable went through here. This is a factory piece from the transmission, so if the cable fit perfect. This is a bearing in there. It's a roller bearing that I made to fit in there. This was the linkage, so when you press the clutch, it would pull this cable right here. And the arc would, this was the ratio, this was, I believe, 3.2 to 1 to get the proper actuation. I played, that's one of the reasons it has a weld in here, because I would actually just kind of build this, tack it together, measure it. I had a B-Series transmission that I could measure on a Integra to make sure I was getting the right movement. This is how I used to do it back in the day. I didn't have computer software and all this data. I used to just do it on the bench and watch things move and measure it and see how much this would actually actuate. So this paddle here, this clutch fork, what would happen is your slave cylinder would push against this and actuate this. Well, that's where I needed to know the movement. I had to get a certain amount of movement right here to make sure this would function correctly. And because there's radius in here, we were not pushing on here. I needed to pull. You see this, when you pull the clutch, this would pull. What I did is drill the arm here. I got the ball from a slave cylinder because the radius and the ball fit that correctly, drilled that ball and had essentially a threaded rod. I had a linkage with a heim joint and adjustability. But what it would do is pull on this. The bolt would go through this hole right here. So think about it, you press the clutch, it pulls the cable, this pulls that, pulls the transmission. There you go, the first hydro conversion back in 1998. And again, I've always had kind of an engineer in mind, but I've found often if I force myself into a situation, I'll figure my way out. And buying a transmission that cost probably 5 times as much as the rent on my apartment back then kind of forced me to figure that out. Well, we did build a handful of these. We fine-tuned this. We made it a little bit nicer. We had a different bearing here, but essentially I think I sold about 20 of these kits. And Esther had one in her car too, because when I put a Type R motor in hers, we put a Type R transmission in her car had this on there too. And it was on there for, I think 3 years before we sold the car. So that was the first hydro conversion. After that, I decided to make it full hydro, and that's what we're going to do with Steve's CRX. We're going to put the master cylinder inside the car and make this full hydraulic, just because it's cleaner, simpler. There's less moving parts. Having a cable, having this movement, it worked really well. I was a big believer in having the feel correct. I don't like the clutches with the click or the grind, the funky feel to them. It drives me nuts. I wanted to eliminate this just because there was a slight feeling in here. Just the cable itself had a slight, like a friction feeling. But there it is. I figured I'd share that with you. This is pretty interesting to see this. It's like going back to your childhood almost. It's so long ago. I later upgraded it and made a better system where we put the master cylinder inside there, ran a reservoir here, and then ran a clutch line to the transmission, which is what we're going to do with this. Exhaust is going to stay for now. It has a Grady exhaust. It has the factory cat. That's going to stay. We're not going to be making a ton of power. Maybe down the road we'll change the exhaust and build something. But for right now, this is the area we're concerned with and getting it clean. We've only got a week and 1 day on this, by the way. Today is day 1. Brakes, if we get time, we're going to refinish the brakes. If we don't, it'll happen later on. But the brakes look kind of yucky. Calipers look dingy. Rotors look rusty. I'd like to do something with that, make it look a little bit better. This is all original under here. It's kind of a shame it's being cut out here because this is close to the valve cover. Might remove this because on the CRX it is painted all the way under here. Not like new cars where it's almost like they paint it just an inch into here and then it's primer. As you see where it's cut out, it's still painted. Something they used to do on the early Hondas. This was all paint, by the way. They didn't used to just paint so far and leave it primer. The whole thing was painted, even though it was thin. So that's where we're at with the CRX. Next episode, you're going to see more happening. We're going to start clearancing this, cleaning it, getting it prepped, showing you how the mounts work, showing how the crossmember work. Hopefully you're getting some ideas from this. Hopefully you subscribe. If you do, thank you. We'll see you on the next video. Don't forget, check in the store. We're going to have the CRX t-shirts in there any minute now. There'll be a t-shirt associated with this car. You CRX fans, check it out. It's going to be a cool shirt.